We are going to become gods. Period. If you don't like it, get off. You don't have to contribute. You don't have to participate. But if you're going to interfere with me becoming God, you're going to have big trouble. And we'll have warfare. The only way you can prevent me in this 50 or is to kill me. If you kill me, I'll kill you.
She reveals that it was with the help of infertility treatments. And she really put together, and it is really a beautiful book. And they're like, this book will reach net. And they're like, this book will reach net. And they're like, this book will reach net. And she really put together, and it is really a beautiful book.
The young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, half of this cabinet, are actually young global leaders of the world economic forum. We penetrate the cabinets.
The change is not just happening. The change can be shaped by us. We have to prepare for a more angry world. How to prepare? Takes the necessary action to create a fairer world. I see the need for a great reset. So people assume we are just going back to the good old world which we had and everything will be normal again. This is, let's say, fiction. It will not happen.
There is only one way this pandemic is going to go. It's going to get worse and worse and worse.
The next crisis is already waiting for us around the corner, and it is the climate crisis.
Aujourd'hui, au bout de ça, on parle de puces qu'on pourra s'implanter. Ce sera quand ça?
Certainement dans les 10 années à venir. Et d'abord, on va les implanter dans nos vêtements, c'est-à-dire wearables, comme on le dit. Et après, on pourrait s'imaginer qu'on les implante dans nos cerveaux ou dans nos topos. Et à la fin, peut-être il y a une communication directe entre notre cerveau et le monde digital. Ce que nous voyons, c'est une sorte de fusion du monde physique, digital et biologique.
Good morning to everybody. I wanted to answer some of the questions that people have been having regarding this such important lawsuit that so many people have waited for so long. So I'm going to address some of the questions that were channeled to me. And the first being, why did we file it in Texas? Well, Targeted Justice is a Texas corporation, and many of its members are here and it's volunteers. Targeted Justice works primarily with the aid of volunteers. And 10, maybe 11 of the plaintiffs live here. So that's in judicial terms, it's called venue. Venue is proper where most of the acts occur. And that's where the volunteers and the plaintiffs that have sustained damages and that are listed in the terrorist screening database as non-investigative subjects are. So it's a purely legal reason for all Article 3 courts have jurisdiction over the matter. Regarding how this lawsuit is different from prior ones, well, there's two prongs to that. First is the lawsuits that have challenged the watch list per se. Many talk about the watch list, and it wasn't until I delved into this that I realized that there are various components to that watch list. And if you take the time to read the 99 pages of the complaint, which are not that complicated, you will decipher what this is about. But in general terms, what the FBI people that have appeared in prior cases have said is this. It contains three main components: the known terrorist, the suspected terrorist, and then there's a category of people that are none of the prior ones. This instrument was created supposedly to combat terrorism, and we have declarations under penalty of perjury from people that have been represented the agencies in those cases that say that this instrument hasn't really deterred any terrorism or accomplished much in that sense. But the important thing and what concerns targeted individuals is that the non-investigative subject category of it has never been challenged in court. And that's what we're challenging, because that's where they get the list to do the experimentation, illegal, non-consensual experimentation on human beings, which is all of the TIs. That's why this lawsuit is so important for all TIs, because in the prior cases, the Court of Appeals have held that Congress has provided a method of redress for the people that are in the list. Is the watch list component of the list said by, told by FBI agents is the known and suspected terrorists. But for non-investigative subjects, they're not supposed to know that they're on that list of non-investigative subjects that comprises 97% of the database. It's important that you note, I have to say probably 90%, I haven't counted them, but most of the statements of fact that are set forth in the complaint come from statements under penalty of perjury by FBI agents in other litigation. I didn't make any of it up. In fact, in many occasions, I cited exactly the deposition statement or the statement in a document. So I didn't make any of the stuff up that's there. So courts have not had the opportunity to review what it is to be put in a list where you are, put in a list for some nefarious reason. You are not given notice of it. You're not given an opportunity to challenge it, and you're not given an opportunity to get out of it. And that's one difference from the prior cases, because in the prior cases, it said Congress has provided redress proceedings for the people that are known or suspected terrorists. Why did they know they were in the list? Because they tried to travel and they couldn't travel. As we all know, NIS, we can travel around, or we can get, a license for a gun or whatever, and we don't get that much trouble because we're not terrorists. We're not associated with terrorism, but we're just put in that list. So that's one aspect. The other aspect is that the individual TI cases, I haven't reviewed all of them, but it is my opinion that probably most of them were dismissed because of that almost impenetrable wall of plausible deniability, which in this case cannot hold itself because we have a lot of targeted, hundreds of targeted justice members saying the same thing the plaintiffs are saying. So here you have a situation where not everybody can make these outrageous things up. It's just not possible. Mathematics, it's just not possible. So it can no longer. They got so greedy putting people in this program that it's no longer deniable. And when you look at, for example, in Twitter or the hashtags, you have over 1,000 tweets a day on targeted individuals. This is a thing. It can no longer be hidden because it's real. It can no longer be denied. So that's what the main things that are different. The other thing is that when you go to cut a tree, you cut the trunk, right? And not the roots and not the branches, because if you prune the branches, it grows bigger eventually. So we just have to go to the trunk, and the trunk is the terrorist screening database, because that is where they get the names of the people that they are going to subject to torture for the rest of their lives. And that's what we're going for. We believe that that's why this should benefit in the long run all TIs. Because once we have the court declare this atrocious list that for no reason we're in that list other than improper motives, well, when we can have it declared unconstitutional, it'll benefit TIs across the nation, probably across the world, even though it is only American citizens that are protected by the Constitution of the United States. There are many constitutional pleadings. We have included First Amendment. We have included, freedom that we have been included in the list as a punishment for exercising our First Amendment rights. We include the Fourth Amendment, which is a legal seizure, search and seizure. We included in the complaint allegations about how all of our electronic communications are illegally surveyed. We include the deprivation of property without due process. We include the cruel and unusual punishment that constitutes the psyops of the organized stalking and the directed energy weapons and the V2K. So even though we're not including like the gazillion symptoms and effects of targeting on people, we are including in general terms what most TIs suffer.
Facebook friend asked me what they get out of torturing people to death. Well, this is a money from suffering scamming network that tortures people for domination and mind control, and they do these money from suffering scams as a means of domination over everyone else. So they want to make you submit so they can control you. So now the latest iteration of that scam, through their money from suffering scamming, is their continued running down that transhuman shithole. They're trying to merge man and machine. So I found this reversal in Obama's speech. I found it in October of 2019. I found all of this stuff and pulled it out before this stuff hit. They've been working on this for decades, guys. So Obama put a ton of our money on Brain Initiative. That's a totalitarian body internet system that interferes with your thoughts, your choices, and who you are. It's identity assault. It's MK Ultra. MK Ultra is basically identity assault. And they have been doing that in bigger and bigger groups of people till now it's global. So the central bankers, this is where all of this is coming from. And it is a literal transhuman mafia. And they want to merge man and machine. And they're using our money and stealing our money in order to do it. So it is a full spectrum dominant enslavement, transhuman, totalitarian enslavement system. And here is Obama telling you about it. He's saying every means of economic measures have been put toward rolling this out, especially to program humans and enslave them and to create more decay, because they're trying to demo the old tech to force in the new tech by any means necessary.
By almost every economic measure, America's better off than when I came here at the beginning of my presidency. By almost every economic measure, America's better off than when I came here.
We're going to start the When Humans Become Cyborg session. You know, I always want to be a cyborg. I'm waiting for the day to become one, but let's see. Like today, we like to really talk about the recent developments of brain-computer interface and how that's really blurring the line between man and machine. And that's also opening up many, many questions about social, cultural, and ethical implications of these technologies.
With all this talk about 15-minute cities, how will their initial implementation unfold? Well, let's start with reducing the number of cars over the coming 10 years before we get to the more radical methods. If you didn't know, the car loan industry is hitting new default highs and few are buying the wanted prices at car auctions. Once the new carbon credit CBDC system comes in, credit for new cars will simply not be given to the average person. That's the start of the UN Habitat Smart Cities implementation in terms of no one owns a car. Remember, you'll own nothing and be happy. I'll leave you with a section of video I made in March of 2018 on the UN Smart Cities program. The mainstream internet is a little behind. They're calling the initial implementation 15-minute cities. This video was named originally back in 2018, Israeli Drones Worldwide. It describes the long history of Israeli espionage against the United States. The relevant part you see here starts at the 11-minute and 50-second mark. Please remember, we can talk all day online, ask you to like and subscribe, buy our merch, and make money while the ship goes down. Sooner or later, you must demand of your internet heroes that they begin to organise politically. And we also have to teach people how they are co-opted, how movements are co-opted, and how high-level billion-dollar companies manned by former generals who ran NATO are running private military intelligence operations, employing crisis actors, creating fake news, and infiltrating movements. I applaud anyone who is getting out there on the street. It's wonderful news, but we must be very, very cautious of plants. Planted people, planted groups, planted provocateurs. There are many ways to limit the damage, and in future videos we'll go into this. Just remember, if we keep chatting amongst ourselves, patting each other on the back, cheering for our internet star of choice, and we never move politically, we are doomed. We are sitting and clucking like chickens as the foxes circle the chicken coop, getting ready to move us into the UN Habitat Smart Cities program. You'll own nothing, you'll be happy, you'll be monitored 24 hours a day, 7 days a week by 5G, high frequency, low latency internet. Everything will be tracked and traced. Your apartment will be hardwired for 60 gigahertz WiGig internet. It's so powerful, it can track you in your house like a camera. It can even recognize your face. The dangers with technology are great. Technology is also liberating and wonderful. But if we keep clucking like chickens online, nothing is going to change. If not me, who? If not now, when? You have to become your own way and begin organizing locally. Good luck. I give you Israeli drones worldwide. The Smart Cities program is being totally run by Israel and is the new cornerstone of their control mechanism.